What do you do when you start doing something right and your parents constantly praise you? What do you do when you're the elder brother of younger siblings, the son who is doing well in school, who goes to church, who does everything his parents tell him? Will you feel proud as the elder brother? Or will your younger siblings feel overwhelmed living under that image? What dynamics does this bring to a family? Will it foster competition? Will it sow resentment? Will that competition be positive? So many questions can be asked about such a situation, and speculatively, my life experience could be studied. Well, the dynamics at that time were a bit complex to give a definite answer, but I know this. I was proud and obnoxious. The compliments, praise, and what you might even call love I received from my parents got to my head. I didn't know exactly when it started, but I became more condescending toward my younger ones, especially my sister. She is the second child, and somewhere in my mind, I believed it was my duty to set her straight, to make her more normal, for lack of a better word. This mindset led to constant arguments and fights with my sister. In my head, it was a battle between good and evil, and naturally, I believed I was the good one, and I was determined to win. Strangely enough, those were both good and bad times for us. We battled constantly, with words, with objects, and sometimes even with strength. But one particular battle of words laid the foundation for my hatred of hypocrisy. It was evening. We were in the parlor, and I was yelling at my sister about how she needed to sit up and behave. Why was I yelling? I honestly can't remember, but my mom had complained to me about something she did, and that was enough for me to start lecturing her. Our voices went back and forth, rising louder and louder. Then, during a pause in my shouting, she said something that stopped me cold. "You hypocrite." Those words shocked me. I froze. For a moment, I forgot how to speak. My sister kept talking, but her words became distant to me, as if someone had suddenly muted her voice. She spoke for a while longer, but when she realized I wasn't responding, she angrily marched out of the parlor. But I didn't notice. I was too absorbed in myself. Inside my mind, a quiet war had begun. Am I a hypocrite? I asked myself. My first instinct was to say no. But then, my mind drifted back to the previous night. A dark room, my sheets pulled over my body. The only thing separating me from the darkness was the dim light of my phone, flickering under the covers. Someone might think I was playing games or watching movies. In a sense, I was watching a movie, but not a regular movie, a blue film. That's what we used to call it in those days. Today, it's simply called porn. And that night wasn't the only time. I watched it that afternoon, that morning, several days in a row. I was a chronic addict, and neither my parents nor anyone else knew. I was very good at hiding it. To them, I looked like the perfect son, the obedient one, the responsible one. But I knew the truth. I knew I was too young to be involved in things like that, yet I couldn't stop myself. My grades were starting to suffer because of it, and my conscience had begun to grow heavier. Maybe that's why I lashed out at my sister. Maybe putting her down made me feel better. Maybe degrading her helped me escape my own guilt. Or maybe the way I treated her was simply how I truly saw myself. Standing there in the parlor, the reality I had been avoiding slowly crept into my mind. I was scared. Scared that she somehow knew my secret. Scared she might tell my parents. For several minutes, I couldn't control my emotions, and I hated that feeling. I hated the fear. I hated the guilt. And right there, in that moment, I made a decision. I would stop. I would turn over a new leaf. Now, did I stop immediately? No. I can give a definite answer to that. But every time I fell back, I remembered the resolve I made that day. Slowly, gradually, the time between each relapse grew longer. One day, then 2 weeks, then 1 month, and so on. Today, as I trace back my journey toward healing and mental freedom, I realize how important that day was. Because that moment laid the foundation for the strength I would need to confront my future addictions and my future demons.